I mentioned I wasn't really happy with the thick and thin version of these lines. I had hoped to make these uniform. And I'll work on figuring that out. But meanwhile, here was my solution to that problem. Because we have a rectangle here, we can test our patterns on this layer. And all we really need to do is hide that and make another layer that we can work on. And for right now, I'm going to open up that Symbols panel and drag out. Remember, you can look under Windows Symbols to open this up. I've docked it right here and will add it to my workspace. But for now, we have this symbol out on the stage, and we know it's a symbol because of this control bar. Now, there's lots of options. I don't want to edit the symbol because if I edit it and color these faces, every the symbol itself will then cease to be this and become the colored version. So I want to break the link so that this now is just a shape. And then I want to color it. I want to color each of these faces a different color. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead because white on white is kind of hard to see. And let's get rid of our stroke because that's useless. But if I deselect, you're going to see you can't tell it's a cube until you roll over it and see the faces, right? So that's not working really well. But what we can do is select it and use the live paint bucket. Now, underneath the shape builder is the live paint bucket. Excuse me. And you see, because of the way this was built, we've got some weird geometry here, but we can handle that. Let's go ahead and double click on our black and pick some color. I don't know, some color. And we'll pick a dark blue to start with. Say OK. And then with the live paint bucket, I'm going to come over here and click to make that face that blue color. Then double click and pull this up to a mid-gray, and then click and click, click, click. There we go. To get that lighter blue, and then double click again, and say OK, and then click to make that. So when we deselect, we now have an isometric cube that has colors that we can first add to our symbol library. We can select this entire thing, pull it over, drop it in. It's going to get a new symbol, and we can name this IsoCube Blue. And, of course, variations on the theme and all the rest. And we get the warning that, hey, we got to fix this before moving on. You click OK. Illustrator handles that for us, and we now have a new symbol in our library. Now, to make this a pattern, we just come down, and we know what that says. This does not work out like it did in the prior version, but we know the hex by row will work. And if we take that, hit escape to get out of pattern editing mode, and close that, we'll hide that layer for right now, or we could just delete it. We'll delete it in the future. Turn on this bottom layer right here, and replace, if we select the rectangle, replace this fill with this one with a single click, not a double click like I did last time. Now we have our wonderful repeating pattern. I'll zoom out so you can see that this works like a charm. And yes, can we recolor this? Can we scale it? Can we do all? Yes, you can do all those things. For right now, what I want you to do is experiment, not just with isometric cubes, but with simple geometry that will allow you to make repeating patterns that are visually pleasing. Not all of them will be great, but save your symbols, save your elements that you're creating your patterns out of. And you can always drag them to the trash if they don't work. But this is kind of a brainstorming project, and I want you to use this one file in order to experiment with lots of patterns. Have some fun with this.